Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. A quick analysis on Surah Kahf, which we're told to read every Friday to save ourselves from the fitna of Dajjal. And if you can't read the whole surah on Friday, you can read the first 10 verses, or you read the last 10 verses of Surah Kahf. Now, why does Allah tell us to read this surah, and what significance does it have with saving ourselves from Dajjal? In this surah, we've got 4 stories. One of the first stories is of the people of the cave. Now, I'm not going to go into the whole life of the people of the cave or what happened, but I just simply want to say that there was a lot of surveillance around their time, as in the soldiers were always watching over to see who said what. And when they spoke the truth, these youth had to run for their lives and hide with their iman. The same thing will happen at the time of Dajjal, where people will be running away to try and save their iman and go and remain away from Dajjal. And the same thing is happening or will happen when the time of Dajjal actually comes, that there will be a lot of surveillance around. Now, the second story we have in this surah starts from ayah number 32, and here you have 2 people. One of them has 2 gardens, and what's striking here is that the one that has the 2 gardens, beautiful gardens, he has more money, and he starts to boast to the other one and say that he says, Ana aktharu minka malan wa a'zu nafara. I've actually got more money than you, and I'm actually, in terms of power, I've got more power than you. And eventually what we see is the one with the beautiful 2 gardens, he displays his disbelief in the form of atheism. He doesn't even believe in any God and so on. Or he might be committing shirk, but whatever it is, he's actually not a believer in the message. And what we find here is that in the end, his whole land is destroyed. And the significance here is that in the time of Dajjal, a lot of wealth, amassing wealth and having a lot of goods will be used to try and show the strength of those who disbelieve in the message of the Quran. And Allah is telling us again that don't worry, because in the end Allah Azza wa Jal will bring about a destruction, just like He brought about the destruction of the person of the 2 gardens. The third the story that we have in this surah is of Musa and Khidr when they make a travel together. Now this starts from, let's say, ayah number 60. If you look onwards from there, you'll see the whole story. Again, it's not time to go into the whole story, but to simply say that a lot of things that happen here, Musa alayhi salam sees things and he questions them. And what Khidr reveals is the unseen. And even though things are looking bad in the eyes of Musa alayhi salam, Khidr revealed in the end that they were all the will of Allah and they're good things. Now, what this tells us is that when the time of Dajjal comes, there's going to be things that will be total opposite. So people will see evil and they'll think it's evil, but it really might be good. There's some good in that. And right now, what's happening across the world, I just want to say to you that there's a lot of good in there, where Allah will eventually sift out the true believers from the hypocrites. And this is the whole purpose of Allah and a plan of Allah. But nonetheless, it will be a time of confusion. And what we're told to do is to give preference over the unseen, over the seen world, where things will be explained to us on the Day of Judgment. So even though we can't understand why the Ummah is in the shape the Ummah is, we have to just have our trust in Allah that is the case. And the final story that we have is of Dhul Qarnayn. This is the 4th story. And what this tells us, because this is a story of Dhul Qarnayn traveling through different parts of the world. He travels to 3 parts of the world, and then he comes across Ya'juj Ma'juj. Now, to conquer Ya'juj Ma'juj, what he has to do is take up some materials to try and trap them inside. And what Allah is trying to tell us here is that when the time of Dajjal comes, eventually, to bring Dajjal to an end, when Isa alayhi salam comes, the same means are going to be used, in the sense that it's not going to be spiritual means to bring Dajjal to an end. It will be a real, up in arms against Dajjal, and that's when he will be brought to an end. So that's the kind of quick summary of it. Hope you enjoyed that. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.